If I can have everybody's attention here in the media center, we are now joined by Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Cobalt Tools Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. Jimmy, big weekend here at Indianapolis at the Brickyard for the Brickyard 400 and a big weekend for the Helmet of Hope. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you for the opportunity to bring everybody up to speed on the Helmet of Hope. We're in our 7th year, and things have gone exceptionally well over the years, and we're so proud of the difference that we have made in a lot of small charities across the country. I can't go without mentioning Blue Bunny and their amazing support of the foundation and all that they have done. And once again, they are the sponsor of the helmet, and also providing a $25,000 grant for each of these 5 charities. The 5 winners are Crayons to Classrooms in Dayton, Ohio, Champions for Learning in Naples, Florida, Heart Tutoring in Charlotte, North Carolina, Lamar's Community Schools Foundation in Lamar's, Iowa, and Reading Partners in Denver, Colorado. All the votes totaled up to 438,658 votes. So we're just extremely proud of the way everybody got involved and supported these 5 great charities and helped them stand out from the rest. And again, just thank you to all of you in this room. Over the years, you've been a part of the voting process along with the fans and have helped build this to what it is today. So to change the voting process and be on our own this year and have it have so much awareness and success, just a big thank you to everybody involved.
Well, thank you, Jimmy, for all that you do. And we're going to open it up now for questions
Absolutely.
About the race weekend. We're going to start back with Claire, and then we'll go to Tom, and then to Bob.
Claire Beeline, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Why do you think so many winners in NASCAR at Indy have been champions and or Hall of Famers, and why do you think that is? And second of all, what's your most remarkable memory of having won here and kissed the bricks?
There's certain tracks that are very difficult to get sorted out and to know how to lead your team. And for me, this was one of the toughest ones that I came to. It took me a long time to get it. And the light finally turned on in my head. I think maybe it was 04, 05. Mid-race, I'm like, man, I've driven this track wrong since practice opened and set my car up wrong and led the team in the wrong direction. And then in the race, it really dawned on me. So I just think this track is so challenging that the best teams have a chance to stand out, the best drivers. Nowadays, the teams that are best at pit calling and strategy, and also knowing that strategy before you get to the racetrack and know that you might end light on fuel or on 2 tires or no tires, and how to work that balance and know that what that balance needs to be throughout our practice sessions here in these, I guess today. So that's that part. And for me, it's really twofold in the fact that you get to go around the racetrack when the race is over, and having my entire crew jump onto the Corvette and make a lap around this track and see the fans in the stands. That is unique to this racetrack, along with kissing the bricks, but that is something I didn't know about, and it meant so much to me when I won my first time, and the other a couple times since, that the lap around the track is just an awesome moment to take in and absorb. And then clearly kissing the bricks is something special. And I saw some photos before I got here of Genevieve kissing the bricks a year or 2 ago, and how special that moment was for me. As a lot of you might remember, she wouldn't kiss the bricks when everybody was out there. And it dawned on her that she missed an opportunity, and as I went through the media, she asked if we could go back out there. And there was just a couple of us there, and she knelt down and kissed the bricks. So that was really, really cool.
Let's go up front here to Tom, then we'll go back to Bob.
Hi, Jimmy. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. If you could change anything on the schedule for 2015, what would it be?
I've always felt like we could use an off weekend before the chase starts, just to leave us an opportunity to have a makeup race. I know would be a pretty severe event if it would take place. In the last unfortunate situation that created that was 9/11, but I think there's a lot of good to give the teams a break and give everybody a break that deep in the season before the chase starts. And ultimately, I buy into the philosophy that we have a bit of oversaturation with race distances and how often we compete, and I think we could trim that stuff down. I don't know where I'd go to first, but I think adopting a little bit of less is more would be beneficial.
Okay, we're going to go back to Bob up front here to Phil, then to Jim, and then to Kelly.
Bob Hawker, Sporting News. When people talk about attendance in the Brickyard, a lot of times they talk about 2008 and the Goodyear tires and everything. Do you think this event is still kind of recovering from that?
I thought it was my fault. I thought it was because I'm in the sport and nobody shows up. I blame JJ, right? I gosh, that was so long ago. I don't even remember. It's hard to say, and I don't think we'll ever trace it back to what it is, but that didn't help by any means. I feel like, we did a nice job recovering, coming back the next year, and everybody handled it the best that they could that weekend, but it didn't help by any means. But I don't think that was all of it. I mean, if this was the only track on the schedule that had that issue, then it'd be easy to point a finger at that.
Let's come up front to Phil and then back to Jim.
I would never try and describe racing a car like riding a bike. You never forget how to do it. But what do you expect from Juan Pablo? He's been out of the stock car for a little while. He's been in Indy cars. Now he's just going to try to jump back in and do it. Tough task. How difficult is that transition?
It really is a tough task. I think we all know and understand how talented he is as a race car driver, and just won recently in Indy cars. So, and you look at his time it took to get back up to speed there. It took, I don't know, half a season or something to get going. It will take him time here. Hopefully he can get the reps that he needs to be up to speed. I think he'll be, towards the front. It's just so tough to be the guy and to find that last half a tenth that it takes to succeed when you're out of the seat and you're not in the seat. And that's the part that he might not have, but with strategy and other opportunities that this racetrack provides, I'm not saying that he can't win, because he absolutely can win here.
Let's go to Jim, then to Kelly, then to Alan, then to John, and then we'll finish up with Chris.
Jim Peltz for the LA Times. Jimmy, Chevy's won this race 11 years in a row. I mean, there's a million reasons why you win a race, but that's quite a streak. Is that just coincidence, or does Chevy actually have an edge over Ford and Toyota here?
Yeah, I think we have an advantage. I mean, I know the relationship I have with the Chevrolet folks and how hard Hendrick Motorsports works with Chevrolet to bring the best cars to the track that we can. But I think, like Michigan has historically been the other brand's track, there's just tracks that just turn out that way. And I can't really explain it. I think in the 70s and 80s you could have easily pointed to the manufacturer and said why, but I think there are just a lot of factors in today's world.
Kelly Crandall from Popular Speed. Jimmy, I think you started to touch on it before. What was the light bulb that went off in terms of how to get around Indianapolis, and has that still been the same thing that's carried you all these years, through the years, and the success that you still have?
Yeah, the success here, I mean, my natural tendencies just didn't work around this track, and I had to make a conscious effort to drive differently, and I've been playing that movie in my head coming here and getting ready for this weekend's race. So there are tracks that your natural driving tendencies suit, and this just isn't one of them for me. So I've got to really change my game coming here, and been able to identify with it. And I think that's half the battle, is just to understand that don't do what you think you need to do. Try to think in the opposite manner to find speed.
Let's go to Alan, then to John, Chris, and I believe Dustin had a question.
Alan Cavano, NASCAR.com. Jimmy, Jeff won this race 20 years ago, and now 20 years later, I don't think many people would be surprised if he went out and won on Sunday. As a fellow athlete, what does that performance and that longevity mean to you, and how do you see it?
I think it's awesome. It's hard to believe we've been coming here for 20 years, too. It also speaks to how young Jeff was when he got started and when he started winning. He's not much older than I am, and we look back 20 years, and he's won a lot over those years. So it's just awesome. I do think that he'll have an amazing opportunity here this weekend. The team's been fast. He's hungry and been on, and definitely be a threat. Yeah, absolutely. To stay at the top level is one of the most difficult things to do. I've had to go to great lengths to challenge myself physically, mentally, to try to stay where I want to be and perform like I want to. And I'm only at 13 years, so Jeff's been doing this a long time and has definitely been the top of the sheet, that top percentile of drivers year after year. So hats off to him for that.
Okay, we're going to go to John, Chris, and then finishing with Dustin.
John Householder, NASCAR Productions. This is a preview question for Pocono. In June, you guys went there. You had a really fast car, ran into some unfortunate situations on pit road, which may have prevented you from getting a win. Are you at all hungry to get back there and maybe fight for that win, considering you may have had the fastest car there that weekend?
Yeah, very excited to go back. Even with a damaged car, we still had a chance to win. We took a gamble on some strategy late in the race, and I really think it was the right move if we had a straight race car and a car that didn't have some bent suspension on it. So we still had a good finish, but I am very excited to go back to Pocono. Love that track.
Chris?
Jimmy, ChrisKnightGetchments.com, right here. Tony Stewart said Wednesday at Eldora Speedway that he'd like to see maybe a cup race eventually get there. He's talked about nationwide and a cup race.
Would he say anything different?
Probably not. But
I don't disagree, but it's not
in your eyes, do you think that would be good for the sport, and do you feel like that he could pull it off if anybody could?
Yeah, and I think that track and the history of the track, there's a couple of mile tracks that have the type of history that it would make sense to go to, but from a short track standpoint, Eldora's, that place is known nationwide, regardless if you're an asphalt or a dirt guy. So I think it'd be cool, and with my background, there's no complaints, and I'm just going to start lobbying for a few jumps. If we race on the dirt, then we need to add a couple jumps to really make things exciting.
Dustin, bring us home, buddy.
Dustin Long, MRN.com. You were talking earlier about longevity in terms of Jeff, but you're on the verge of making the chase every year and would be the only driver to continue that streak. How challenging has that been? Obviously, I know the championships mean more, but what value is there to you from a personal side of being in the chase each of the years, and how did you get there? Because, obviously there can always be that one bad year to ruin the streak. I think Kenseth missed it just the 1 year. So how have you persevered?
Yeah, I take a lot of pride in it, especially when it was 10, 12, or 13 drivers in the chase. It was, in today's world, it's loosened up a bit more. We're up to 16. And the way you enter has changed. So when I look back to the original chase format, I take a lot of pride that we made each of those years. And still, to keep the streak alive and keep it going, it's something you earn to be in that top division of our sport and to make our playoffs, and it's something I take very seriously.
Jimmy, thank you so much for joining us today, and good luck this weekend.